Police and the FBI chased thousands of leads, clearing everyone close to the women as the case exploded nationwide. A buried bodies tip went nowhere, and years later, a violent offender named Robert Craig Cox emerged, taunting investigators, yet never charged. The truth remained just out of reach. In 2007, with the case cold but public interest renewed by Cox's involvement, the Greene County Prosecutor's Office made an unusual move. They convened a grand jury to re-examine the Springfield Three investigation. A grand jury functions differently from a regular trial. It operates in secret, hearing testimony from witnesses who can be compelled to appear under subpoena. The goal isn't to convict, but to determine if enough evidence exists to bring charges. For a cold case, it's a powerful tool to force reluctant witnesses to talk and to review evidence with fresh eyes. The grand jury heard from dozens of witnesses. Friends who'd been at the graduation parties testified about that night's events. Cox's former associates were brought in to discuss his statements and whereabouts. Forensic experts reviewed the physical evidence from the scene. The families testified about the personal toll and what they knew about the women's lives. New information did emerge. Some witnesses who'd been teenagers in 1992 were now adults, willing to share details they'd been too scared to reveal at the time. Others had fresh memories sparked by the formal setting, but ultimately the grand jury couldn't produce enough evidence to indict anyone. The case remained open, unsolved, frustrating. Then came another tantalizing lead involving Cox. A tip claimed that in the days after the disappearance, Cox had visited a quarry owned by a friend located on the outskirts of Springfield. According to the tip, a large concrete slab had been poured at this quarry shortly after June 7, 1992. The implication was clear. The women's bodies could be buried beneath that concrete. Investigators visited the quarry. The concrete slab was there, massive, heavy, set deep into the ground. Ground-penetrating radar suggested anomalies beneath it, similar to the hospital garage situation years earlier. But once again, the logistical challenge was enormous. Moving that slab would require specialized equipment, environmental assessments, property owner permissions, and significant funding. The quarry owner was willing to cooperate, but the costs ran into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And like before, the radar results weren't definitive enough to guarantee that excavation would find anything. The investigation faced the same impossible choice: spend enormous resources on what might be another dead end, or leave a potential burial site undisturbed, because absolute certainty was impossible. To date, that concrete slab remains in place. Beneath it might be the answer to 30 years of questions, or beneath it might be nothing but soil and stone. This is the agonizing reality of the Springfield Three case. There are locations that might hold the bodies. There is a suspect who might be guilty. There is evidence that might be conclusive, but nothing is certain enough to bring closure. Without confirmed remains, the case can't be officially classified as a homicide. It remains a missing persons investigation. 3 women who simply vanished. Their fate unknown, their killer, if there is one, unpunished. While Robert Craig Cox has dominated the investigation's focus for the past 15 years, the lack of concrete evidence has forced both investigators and independent researchers to consider other possibilities. Some criminal profilers believe the Springfield Three case bears the hallmarks of an organized, experienced predator, but not necessarily Cox. The crime's characteristics are telling. 3 victims taken simultaneously, no physical evidence left behind, no bodies ever recovered, and a method of entry and control that suggests prior experience. This wasn't someone's first crime. The level of control required to subdue 3 women without any of them escaping, screaming effectively, or leaving defensive wounds is extraordinary. This theory suggests an offender who'd done this before, possibly in other jurisdictions. The FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, VICAP, database was searched for similar crimes. Multiple victims abducted from a residence, no evidence left behind, bodies never found. Several cases shared some characteristics, but none matched closely enough to definitively link them. The Midwest in the early 1990s did have active serial offenders. Larry Dwayne Hall, who operated in the region, was investigated for possible connection to the Springfield Three. He was known to abduct young women and had confessed to multiple murders. However, his typical victim profile, lone women, often hitchhikers, didn't match 3 women taken from a home, and investigators found no evidence connecting him to Springfield in June 1992. The serial predator theory remains haunting because it's unfalsifiable. If someone with experience did this and successfully avoided leaving evidence, they could still be out there. They could have committed similar crimes before or since. The Springfield Three might be 3 names in a longer list of victims. A more localized theory involves the possibility of a drug-related hit. In the early 1990s, Springfield, like many Midwestern cities, was experiencing an increase in methamphetamine production and distribution. This theory suggests that one of the 3 women might have witnessed illegal activity or had knowledge that made them a liability to a local drug operation. The theory is primarily based on rumors and anonymous tips that surfaced in the years following the disappearance. Some sources claimed Sherrill had been dating someone with connections to local dealers. Others suggested Suzie might have been at a party where drug transactions occurred. A few tips claimed Stacy had seen something at one of the graduation parties that she wasn't supposed to see. Proponents of this theory point to the professional nature of the crime. If this was a planned hit by experienced criminals, it would explain the lack of evidence. People involved in serious drug trafficking have experience in making problems disappear. They have access to remote locations, equipment for disposal, and the motivation to act decisively. However, this theory has significant weaknesses. There's no direct evidence connecting any of the 3 women to drug activity. No witnesses have come forward with credible testimony. The theory relies heavily on someone knew someone who heard something, the kind of third-hand information that rarely leads anywhere. Additionally, drug-related violence typically involves sending a message. Bodies are often found, purposely displayed to warn others. A complete disappearance, while possible, doesn't fit the typical pattern. Still, the theory persists in Springfield, whispered in conversations, debated in online forums, impossible to completely dismiss or confirm. A less sinister but equally disturbing theory suggests the women might have died accidentally and someone panicked and disposed of the bodies. Could there have been a carbon monoxide issue in the house? A gas leak? Some kind of poisoning that left no immediately visible trace? If someone discovered the bodies, perhaps someone with a criminal background who feared being blamed, they might have removed them to avoid being implicated in the deaths. This theory attempts to explain why there was no sign of struggle, the women might have been unconscious or dead before being moved, and why the scene was so undisturbed. It's a more benign explanation than murder, but it still requires someone to have committed the crime of disposing of bodies and covering up deaths. However, this theory is problematic. The house was thoroughly examined for environmental hazards. No carbon monoxide issues, no gas leaks, no toxins were detected. And it doesn't explain the broken porch light or why all 3 women would have been affected simultaneously. For the mothers left behind, time has been both cruel and stagnant. Janice McCall, Stacy's mother, has spent over 30 years searching for her daughter. She's appeared on dozens of television programs, given hundreds of interviews, and followed up on countless tips. Her life has been defined by June 7, 1992. Everything is before that date or after it. In interviews over the years, Janice has spoken about the unique torture of not knowing. If Stacy had died in a car accident, I would grieve. I would visit her grave. I would eventually find some kind of peace, she said in a 2015 interview. But this is limbo. Every day I wake up and she's still missing. Every day I don't know if she's alive, somewhere, suffering, or if she died quickly and painlessly, or if she's been buried in some unmarked location where I'll never find her. The holidays are particularly difficult. Stacy's birthday comes and goes every year, marked by her mother with a silent acknowledgement of another year stolen. Christmas, which Stacy loved, is now a reminder of empty chairs and unwrapped presents. Mary Pammy Streeter, Suzie's stepmother, has similarly devoted her life to keeping the case in the public eye. She's maintained a website, organized vigils, and worked with cold case advocates to ensure the Springfield Three aren't forgotten. Sherrill Levitt's family has been more private in their grief, but the loss is no less profound. Sherrill's mother lived to see several anniversaries of the disappearance, always hoping for answers that never came. She passed away without ever knowing what happened to her daughter. The families have had to endure not just the absence of their loved ones, but also the conspiracy theories, the amateur detectives, the psychics claiming to have visions, and the occasional cruel hoax. Over the years, there have been false tips designed to torment them, ransom demands from people who had no actual information, and accusations suggesting the families themselves were somehow involved. Through it all, they've maintained dignity and persistence. They've cooperated with every legitimate investigation. They've provided DNA samples for comparison databases. They've kept their loved ones' stories alive, ensuring that Sherrill, Suzie, and Stacy are remembered as people, not just victims. The Springfield Police Department has cycled through several lead detectives on the case. Each brings fresh perspective, but each also inherits the same frustrating lack of physical evidence. The current detective assigned to the case reviews tips regularly, follows up on new forensic technologies, and maintains contact with the families. In 2017, on the 25th anniversary of the disappearance, Springfield held a vigil. Hundreds attended. Janice McCall spoke, her voice strong, despite the decades of heartbreak. "We will never stop looking. We will never stop asking questions. We will never give up hope that someone will finally tell us the truth. The $50,000 reward for information leading to the location of 3 women remains active. It's been increased over the years, funded by donations from the community and contributions from the families themselves, but no one has come forward with information that's led to. As forensic science has advanced, cold cases like the Springfield Three have benefited from technologies that didn't exist in 1992. DNA analysis has become exponentially more sophisticated. Touch DNA, the ability to extract genetic material from skin cells left on surfaces, can now identify suspects from evidence that would have been useless 30 years ago. The problem is there's no clear crime scene in the Springfield Three case. What evidence exists has been handled by too many people. Ground-penetrating radar has improved dramatically. Modern systems can detect anomalies beneath concrete and soil with far greater accuracy than the technology available in 2007. Some advocates have pushed for rescanning both the hospital parking garage and the quarry location using current equipment. Cost remains the barrier. Genealogical DNA databases like GED Match have revolutionized cold case investigations. By comparing crime scene DNA to publicly available genetic genealogy databases, investigators have solved cases decades old. The Golden State Killer was identified this way in 2018. However, this technique requires having usable DNA from the perpetrator, something the Springfield Three case lacks. Digital forensics have also advanced. If this case happened today, investigators would have cell phone location data, security camera footage from businesses and homes, digital payment records, and social media activity. In 1992, none of that existed. The women's movements could only be tracked through witness interviews, and gaps in that timeline remain. Some true crime researchers have suggested using new artificial intelligence programs to analyze the case files, looking for patterns human investigators might have missed. Others have proposed enhanced psychological profiling using modern understanding of criminal behavior. The Springfield Police Department has indicated they're open to new approaches, but they're also cautious about chasing every technological advancement without clear evidence it would yield results in this specific case. If this case moved you, share this video. Someone, somewhere, still knows what happened to Sherrill Levitt, Suzie Streeter and Stacy McCall. Liking and commenting helps this story reach more people, and your voice keeps cold cases alive. Watch the full series from part 1 in the playlist, and subscribe to the Cold Case Room so these stories are never forgotten.